Since the pandemic, ADHD has become quite the buzzword, particularly over the last few months, and particularly with the medication shortage, it has become a hot, steaming topic with much misinformation also going along with it, which is just fabulous. So I wanted to kind of give some raw details on my ADHD journey. I was late diagnosed, so it's been quite the slog. I will say this is not the happiest of stories that I will tell you. So prior to being diagnosed, and particularly through my school years, I would just tell people I couldn't revise. I wasn't capable of revising. I would sit down and try to, but immediately my brain would shut down. I'd find it exhausting if I tried to force myself to do it. The best I could do is if I had written notes to then type them up, because that was a new task. I wasn't necessarily reviewing the same thing over and over again. I just came to the conclusion that I'm really bad at theory and could only really do practical work, which fair enough. It is my strong suit, and this is why I chose the university degree I did. My degree was weighted 70% on the practical work I did rather than the dissertation, because I most definitely wouldn't have come out with a first class if it was the other way around. But growing up, I would often bounce around friendship groups. I was never with one friend for a long period of time, whether that's because my interests just shift that quickly and I no longer was interested in what they were interested in. It just felt that I never really settled with anyone, which obviously can be difficult growing up because you kind of always feel like an outcast. You never find like your tribe, you're just always bouncing around. Still very fun, had lots of experiences with lots of different people, can't complain about that. I got very good at lying because obviously you're trying to hide like all the shit that you're not doing, so that's not great. And I was also a big eater. I was very greedy, and not just with food, but you become a bit like a dragon. Like, you want to hoard all the shit that you are hyperfixating on, and it will ruin your day if people get involved in that. Many a fight has broken out in this household over food that's been eaten from the fridge that should not have been taken. So it has been a whole thing. I still am, I guess I should say, an outgoing social person. I was overly friendly as a kid and would talk to anyone and everyone. Not necessarily a bad thing, other than stranger danger maybe when you're like 5 years old, but I was very much a very social butterfly as a kid because I could not stop talking. I'm probably a bit more flexible now. I had a very firm worldview and a very black and white justice when I was younger. And something that I'm still bad at is that I don't really deal with peer pressure, like as in I get peer pressured and I go, you can fuck off because that's not what I'm gonna do. And that'll be the end of that. Like, the more people try and pressure me, the more angry I get at them. So yeah, that kind of stuff just doesn't work. And then in 2020, I began the business. I've always wanted to run a business. It has been one of the consistent things I've been interested in, from making countless business plans and researching countless businesses in order to start them. It was something I was really excited to get going. Maybe didn't have the funds to get going, but I was very excited to do it. And not being able to sit down and do the research for this and plan, and even it took me so long to put together the documents for my first loan. It was such a struggle. It was exhausting. The amount of times I would just break down crying because I would be sat at my desk staring at my screen like, just write something, just write anything, and not being able to. Like, it was like you're paralysed. It is the craziest feeling. And obviously you start to feel like you're broken. You can't do what you're meant to be doing. I knew I was intelligent enough to do what I wanted to do, but my body wasn't allowing me to do it. Incredibly frustrating, because it feels like, you know, a lot of people have that immediate cringy reaction just thinking about nails on a chalkboard. that rejection is kind of what not being able to do something feels like, particularly something you want to do or need to do. Having that immediate rejection when you go to do it, like a brick wall's been put in front of you, very disheartening. But we legit, as people with ADHD, we legit don't have the chemicals to just push through and do the task, which is what is mental. So not being able to do what I wanted to do with the business, obviously a lot of failure, a lot of shame, a lot of guilt kind of started swimming around, heavy on the depression. I think a lot of other factors came into this as well, like moving back in with my parents. I'd already been mourning the loss of like a long ass relationship. There were several factors that piled on to already not having enough going on that it made me spiral further and quicker than I probably would have done, which led to a couple of terrifying phone calls to my older sister with me hyperventilating in a hallway when I was home alone. And I can laugh now, but at that time, I literally just couldn't think of anything but my issues. I couldn't find a way through it. And at that moment, it was very much give up on your dreams, end everything, or work full time in a shit job for the rest of your life. So when I did get my diagnosis, it was a huge relief, massive. It felt like I'd been told I wasn't just a broken, failing piece of shit more than anything. That other people were also dealing and succeeding with the condition that I also had. Being medicated is life-changing. When they say that it is a life-saving treatment, they are not joking. If I can't get my meds because of this shortage, I do not know what I will do. Obviously, you become dependent on them, which isn't great because there may come a time when we don't have them, but I literally don't think I can be productive without them now. I have so much more energy to do things outside of work as well. Often, people who are neurodivergent will work an 8-hour normal day and be exhausted in the evening that they can't function. They will do the bare minimum to either take care of themselves or their household. But that doesn't mean that they're going out socialising or doing anything that actually gives them enjoyment. It is crazy. It is crazy how some people can who can get up early, go to the gym in the morning, have a 8-9 hour work day, and then go and socialise. How do you do that? So when you're hearing all this fuss about ADHD, just when someone tells you that they have ADHD, just be kinder. Or if you hear, or any kind of neurodivergence, like if you know a colleague or one of your own employees starts asking for certain needs to be met, just approach them with kindness because they've already beaten themselves up enough. They don't need to hear it from you as well. They've already struggled. Leave them to it. And also, if you meet their needs, they can be such a good employee, like unbelievable. We care so much, but we can only care to the point where we function. So just take care of them. So it's not all sunshine and rainbows and hyperactivity and oops, I forgot my keys. It's very much a gift and a curse because we can create and we can perceive beyond most, but then we can be dysregulated and paralysed and not be able to function for a week. So there's ups and downs, it's a bit of a roller coaster. But hopefully this has given you a bit more of an insight of what some of us have been through in order to get here. If you do have more questions about being neurodiverse or ADHD in general, I am more than happy to answer them. I'd like more people to know about it. I'm not an expert, but I can tell you what I've been through and my personal life view of it, my lived experiences. So yeah, drop me a comment. I'm all about it.